There are those who believe that life here began out there, far across the universe, with tribes of humans who may have been the forefathers of the Egyptians, or the Toltecs, or the Mayans, that they may have been the architects of the Great Pyramids, or the lost civilizations of Lemuria or Atlantis. Some believe that there may yet be brothers of man who even now fight to survive somewhere beyond the heavens.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It just doesn't get any better than that. Wow, that is actually a wonderful start. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. This is Back to Galactica here on the NDB Media Network. Today is June 15th, the day after the Lonely Hearts Day, but hey, it's all good. We're here on a Thursday, and it is absolutely beautiful, and I already see some imagery in the background. Baltar has the Cylon. Michael has, I think, the Hoovian nest, or I don't know what, something like that. Greg has the Pegasus. And what do I have? My lonely empty garage. But hey, he's all good in the hood, so they say. Folks, I'm Roger. Greg, how you doing, young man?
Doing well. Thank you. How are you?
Ooh, I'm doing well. You're at PyCon headquarters. I didn't see that. Good job. I like that. Michael, how you doing, young man? How's everything?
Well, doing great.
Thank you. Baltar, what's going on? John Colicos, or whoever you are, James Callis?
Well, I think I'm okay, but either that or my ears are playing tricks on me because I could have sworn you said June 15th, not February 15th.
Actually, I did say June 15th. Very good.
I missed that. Ooh.
I don't know why I did that. Thank you. February 15th, 2024. Thank you, Baltar. Go play with Lucifer now. Adama, good evening. How are you?
Good evening. I am doing well, and I just want to say I really think you should take a look at the other Battlestar.
Oh,
I think so too.
I gotta admit, that was funny watching it again. Oh my goodness, great line. Way to intro. Ladies and gentlemen, The Living Legend Parts 1 and 2. I was a bit surprised because I was able to see it on Vudu, and I did purchase the series. And I noticed that both episodes on Vudu had a runtime of 48 minutes, 53 seconds. I know Greg is great at checking me on that. Maybe he can. But I was surprised. Both episodes had a runtime of 48:53. But be that as it may, The Living Legend Part 1 is known as Season 1, Episode 12. It was teleplay. It was story by Ken Pettis and Glenn A. Larson. And the teleplay was by Glenn A. Larson. This was directed by Vince Edwards. And folks, it is the exact same credits for Part 2. So I won't go over that again. The guests were Anne Lockhart, Jack Stauffer, and do you guys know how to pronounce his name? Is it Rod Hayes or Haas? It's Haase. I don't recall how you pronounce that.
Yeah,
Isn't it Haas?
It could be
Isn't it
Haas.
Haas?
Yeah, it could very well be Haas, but the E is silent. Mr. Colby Hankins. Yes, open fire. I like it. Yes, thank you for joining us. Folks, for everyone watching, let us know
Colby,
who you
you're
are.
grounded.
Hey, stop it. Folks, for everyone here, let us know who you are and where you hail from. Let us know what's going on. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Love to hear your questions and comments, and we're going to get to it. And the final guest star, of course, in both episodes, the indelible Lloyd Bridges as Commander Kane. Wow. Folks, I don't know if you guys want to go beat by beat or if you just let's just get into it. We're going to do both parts, whatever you guys want to do. Michael, let's get to you first. What are some of your thoughts as we get moving? You can go to a straight scene or...
Well, I'll just do an overview, kind of like what you said. I mean, I haven't seen it in decades, and there was a lot I'd forgotten. After watching it again, and I go, oh, I forgot about that. And then I remembered, but it was honestly, it was a good 2 episodes. it got, I don't know, it just kind of, you could see the rivalry between Adama and Cain a lot. And
Yeah.
obviously it had been going on for a long time.
Yes. Yeah. We will get into that. Baltar, some of your thoughts on this, on the episode?
One, I really actually liked a lot of the rivalry that was going on,
Oh,
but one of the things I didn't like was, I'm sorry, but those models, especially of the shuttles, were really bad.
Fire!
wait a minute.
So,
The models, as when they were coming up from the surface or landing, or how? Or which
when they were
models?
coming, all of the models, the shuttle models, when they were coming
Oh,
both out of both bays and then back up to both battle stars, was really, they could have done so much more.
The compositing
You know,
was a little rough.
yeah,
I'll give you that.
yeah, it was.
But the models were
It was.
awesome. Liz,
Well,
that's what we
Yeah,
had back then.
there is
no,
that one
they
shot.
were too boxy.
There is that one shot where there's about 6 of those shuttles on screen at once, and it looks like they're having trouble steering, and they're all kind of going different
Yes.
directions.
oh my God,
Yeah.
that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
They probably just have really bad steering compared to a Viper.
Well, and was had bad compositing. I mean, they tried to save money and they shot it one way and then tried to composite it on when they needed more ships doing the same thing. And it doesn't hold up. With
Okay.
our high def resolution. So.
It doesn't hold up. But did it take away watching it 4 decades after, Michael? That's the question.
Not to me, no.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. Greg, your thoughts maybe on that, the compositing or the story, or just start off with your comments, please.
Well, I mean, obviously, this is one of the ones that was they intended to do originally because it was a 2-part, would have been a movie. It was a really good story. There was a lot of elements to it that were really good. I don't think the compositing detracted for me because it, I mean, I still love the old Ray Harryhausen movies with the stop motion skeletons and monsters and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can forgive that, knowing that this was made in '78 on the TV budget. But I mean, I love the ships. I mean, I can deal with matte lines.
Yeah.
You don't care. You're on the Pegasus, so you're fine, right?
Until it gets destroyed, anyway.
Well, maybe, but that's a whole other issue.
Yeah. Hey, whoa! Be very careful. We don't know. We have no idea. They were blinded by the light. Which was that the song? Was that the #1 song in that year? Blinded by the light. That was lame. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Now that song is going through my head
I'm sorry. So great.
with an exploding battle star.
Oh my God! Please, we're not going to hear that song with the Pegasus. Well, in that imagery.
One of the things that
yes.
I appreciated, though, was how when they did the episodes with Admiral Kane in the reimagining, was how many of the little plot points were there.
Yes.
Like Ty going over to take command and things like that. So I'm pleased that some of the plot points from the reimagined series, though, weren't in this one.
Yeah. All right.
Just so nobody loses sleep, like Liz. Blinded by the Light came out in 1976.
I'm not going to lose any sleep.
I was off by 2 years. Trey, that's crazy. What are some of your thoughts, young man, as we get going on this?
Well, not as young as you might think, but I think this is definitely in the top tier of episodes. I think it does a great job of portraying the military strategy and making it kind of understandable what they're doing. Like, for example, okay, they attack Gamorre and the Cylon fighters come to get them, and then but then Baltar is strategizing on his side. You know, it's if the two battle stars are there, the fleet is unprotected. Send a killer force to destroy the fleet, and then he finds out from Lucifer. Oh yes, our imperious leader is on Gamorre. So I love how they never tell Baltar anything. You know, he's always in the
But don't
dark,
you
but the
think if
Cylons know it. Hmm?
but don't you think if Baltar knew the Imperious leader was on the planet, he'd really try to do something to get rid of him because he wants to be the all supreme commander.
This is This
Yeah,
is.
but they don't know that.
But when he does find out, of course, he sends the fighters. Send everything to Gamorre to protect the Imperious leader. Then Kane leads them off, and so they don't. They attack him instead of the Galactica, and then when Baltar figures out that he's just a decoy, he sends the Raiders back. And then when he finds out that Kane is kind of going straight for him, he calls the Raiders back again. So it's just a great game of where are we going to send those Cylons.
You know what? It was
Actually, in
really
a
cool.
way, sorry about that, Roger. In a
No,
way, it kind of reminds me of what happened during the bombing of Midway. Send one fleet out. Oh, we didn't do this. Send them back. Oh, no. Let's resend them back out with the bombs now attached. There was too much fiddle faddling around, and it kind of reminds me of kind of what was going on.
Maybe that's the inspiration for that
Could
part of
be.
it.
yeah. We're gonna have to comment about this, Greg. I love that comment in the private chat about the song. By the way, that was completely accidental, folks. But folks, everyone in the chat room, please give us your comments, share everything. Colby, if you want to say anything else, by all means. I'm not sure if you caught it, but as the episode was progressing, part one, and I'm sorry if I'm off because I do want to get back to the battle. I noticed that after the, I guess the fighter pilots are having it out where they're bragging about, well, someone's going to have to learn how to play nice. Where Apollo is saying, you need to know who's in charge, and they're like, well, we know who's in charge, and I believe it was, hey, iBeamer, how you doing?
Hey,
We're
I
having a great
remember.
evening. If you want to jump on in, I know you're probably working, but you're more than welcome to join us. I loved how the moment of teamwork is mentioned, and I believe they say it's good for morale. And it was at that moment when we hear the Battlestar Galactica theme done a la Patton. Did you guys get that? Where it
Mm-hmm.
changed a little bit? I
When
love
when Kane walks out of the room and they got this sort of snare drum going.
Dude, it was Patton, baby. And as a matter of fact, he was interviewed. I'm not sure if he was interviewed or if it was his wife that said later that he was basically playing Patton because Patton had only been out, 7, maybe 8 years earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And that was absolutely huge. So I caught it right there. I even made the note BSG Patton music because it was the Battlestar Galactica theme, which we'd heard, but they added that little flavor with him, which I didn't realize that I've hummed that my entire life. How many of you hummed that? Come on. Did you, Trey? I'm sure you have. Did you, Admiral Greg? No. No, never did that. And it was out of this episode. Trey, is that when you started doing it? Because I did as a little 9-year-old.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah.
I think Stu Phillips was really great about imitating themes. I just listened to a podcast recently where he was interviewed last fall and talking about how he did a sort of not quite clone of the James Bond theme for a Fall Guy episode, and how he had just learned to get really close imitations without violating copyright. So I guess that's what he's doing here.
Yeah, it was really very well done. It was commented earlier about the contention. Look, Kane is the greatest military commander that they ever had in the colonies. There's no doubt about it. and even Adama admired him. But the reality is, Adama here is his superior. I don't think he was the commander of the fleet, but the overall fleet commander. But he was senior, and it was understood. We all know what happened in the reimagining, which, oh my God, what a dynamic in the reimagining. But that's not here. Folks, looking back, do you feel that it was written into the plot that maybe it was overdone? That Adama was like, nope, 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 nope. We're here for the fleet. We're gonna take your fuel because we're protecting the fleet. I mean, he was so almost obtuse in that. No, we're not going to do this. We're not going to engage them. Does it follow in the script, or do you think they alter the character? Am I reading too much into it? Because for me, I was like, come on, dude. Come on, Adama. But was that the character of Adama? And I'm just, I'm just reading too much
if
into
you
it.
think about it, I mean, when he when he had to start protecting all those civilian ships, I mean, his command structure, I don't know, not structure, but the way he did things changed. I mean, because that was his priority. It wasn't get rid of the Cylons. It was protect all these ships that don't have any defenses.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that is pretty typical then. I mean, he didn't come around until Kane forced them to attack the Cylons.
Yeah, Adama was mad. He knew he was being pushed around.
Oh yeah, he knew he was being manipulated.
Yeah, manipulated.
But there wasn't much he could do about it at the time.
Kane at that point had already violated orders by blowing up the tankers instead.
Exactly.
Yes. So I mean, he sort of had it coming to him at that point.
He did violate orders because he wanted to do what he wanted to do. But there was a scene a little bit. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Wanted to do it his way.
He wanted to do it his way. There was a scene which I'd forgotten about, where his pilots come up to him and say, "You're the man. You're the boss, and it's you." And Kane basically says, "Thank you." I'm paraphrasing. I think I wrote it down. I don't have it at the moment, but he says, "Hey, look, I hear you. I made a tactical decision and it blew up on me. What you kids are talking about is mutiny." See, that was kind of cool. There was still a manner of honor. We know what Kane is, but he still believes in the system. Look, this guy's a warrior. He knows what Adama has, but he's survived for 2 years, keeping him, he keeps jabbing him in the knees, he keeps them bent. And now he's like, look at what I've done with 1 battle star. You know what I'm going to do with, and you notice he kept saying, you know what I'm going to do with 2 battle stars? Mm-hmm. That I caught it. I think Adama didn't care for that. Mm-hmm. That was subtle, but I did appreciate it because he was almost driven. He says, you know what I've done? Look at what I'm going to do now. And he did admit somewhere in the episode, oh, you mean you think I'm driven because I want to run up the flag, the colonial flag on the pole? It's like, yeah, I do. Which was really funny. There's honesty here. And it was really good, but they teamed up rather quickly. I don't think it was forced. It happened, and it was good. He manipulated Adama, but Adama was finally in on it, provided the fleet would be protected. I don't know if you guys have some other comments about it, but
a couple of things I had forgotten was that Cassiopeia had been involved with Kane.
Oh, I hadn't forgotten that.
I hadn't forgotten.
And so there was she was torn between him and Starbuck, and by the end, and by the last scene where it was discussed, she still hadn't made up her mind which way she wanted to go.
Yeah, and did you notice what Starbuck said? It's okay that there's a little bit of confusion, no problem. I mean, what is that?
Well,
is that 1970s talk?
The other thing was when Boxy's rat
Oh my
off
God,
all his
yes!
girlfriends.
What were their names? Because he left, and oh my God, I wrote them down.
Athena, yeah.
Athena,
Miriam.
Miriam, and then it just goes on.
No
And
day.
Starbuck walks up. That was hilarious. The kid says, "Oh, it's okay." And he still has Athena, Miriam, and I didn't get the other one. And I think who tells him to stop? It's Apollo, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I understand why my mother didn't want me to watch that program back then. But that was funny that the youngest is the one that said that.
Those are usually the ones that pick up on everything.
It was damn funny though that the little 6 or 7-year-old is the one that said it. He's like, "Oh, too bad," but he's got. And the one that he mentions first is Athena. It's just Starbuck's sister or Apollo's sister.
Mhm.
I think that's why Apollo got mad. Oh my God! You know what? Looking back again, Glenn A. Larson and the writing staff, I had forgotten how much humor there was in this series. It wasn't in your face. It was just subtle, well done humor.
It was
Yeah.
like little breaks with the seriousness of
Yes. And it wasn't
all the battles.
slapstick humor.
Yeah.
It was real. Now, did you guys get the other line that Starbuck had earlier? Where he said something about that people cannot, once they have Starbucks, they'll never go back or whatever. Did you guys remember that, Trey?
Yeah.
Out on that one, Trey, please, because I don't know where I have it, but that was funny too.
Yeah, I think maybe Apollo brought up to him like, "Oh, once they experience the aura of Starbuck," and then Starbuck's like, "I never said that. It's true, but I never said it."
That's right. I did like that one also. Now, going back, there was a scene when they're on the Pegasus, the crew's there, and then Tolan finally says, "Okay, boys, get them something to drink." Kane wants to meet them, and they walk in, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's an honor." And he says, "Yes, it is an honor." And then they say that he's from Adama, and he says, "Oh yeah, I can see it. You're Adama's son. How is that old Madaka?" That was another phrase. I don't know what a Madaka is, but I guess again it's just made up, right? In this universe.
I think
Yeah,
that's
it
one of 4 new swear words that Kane got to introduce.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at least that's my count. 4. He there's Madaka.
So
And,
it is a swear word because I
Well,
thought
that's my guess
Madaka.
because that would be in character for him, wouldn't it?
Okay, because I know they call each other old
Like-
Daggets later.
Yeah, old War
Yeah.
Daggett. So he's
That would be
also
kind of like an old goat.
Right.
So he says, "I might have known I'd find you and your fleet sitting dead on your astrums."
Astrums.
So that's another one.
Oh, that's right. I read that. I forgot about that. That's right. Okay.
And let's see. The other 2. Oh, he says Hades hole. That's a sort of
Yes.
exclamation.
That was another one that that was funny.
Yes. That one I did catch that it was a swear word or a phrase.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not sure what the other one is.
Let's see. He one time he calls them mong raking Cylons instead of gallmonging. So
Yeah.
mong raking must be some variation on gallmonging. So that's my count.
It could
All
be
right.
shit raking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It could very well be. Now, right after they talk about it, Adama, and then he tells them, "Do you guys know of this one called Cassiopeia?" He shows the daughter, and Apollo's like, "Well, I've never seen anyone like that." They say, "Oh, really? She's the one that almost shot you out of the stars, dude. How'd you miss it?" That one was cool. But I loved how Kane, his bravado, he's like, "Gentlemen, our troubles are over. We've got 2. The Silent Empire is about to fall." What'd you think about Michael? You're laughing. What'd you think about that?
Oh no, I was laughing at something else. Someone sent me.
Okay.
I'm sorry about
I'm
that.
Gosh, could you imagine if Kane would have been in command? Do you think the Silent Empire would have fallen with 2 battle stars? Because he says we can outfight them, we can outgun them, we can. So he acknowledges the universe that these guys aren't the sharpest tin cans.
No, but I think you'd have gotten too comfortable with himself, made a mistake.
Honestly, probably.
Yeah.
I thought his plan was good. If you think about it, when he went straight for Baltar, no one expected, because when he was going for Baltar, as you guys mentioned earlier, the Cylons engaged them, and then they're like, okay, all right, they're going, all right, they finish off the Pegasus, go and defend the Emperor or the Imperious leader, and then they get the report, he hasn't broken off to deep space.
Mm-hmm.
He's coming for us. Like, oh, wait a minute, but our fighters engaged. Yeah, he hasn't broken. He's coming for you. And I loved his line a little bit later when he said, order the other base ship, commanders to move in and Lucifer's. Well, I don't think they're going to appreciate that suggestion or something like that. He says, it's not a suggestion. I don't care. I actually did like that. That was funny. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It was good. But going back to Trey's line when he began the episode, I did love it when the Cylon is just looking. The way it does a double take. You need to see this. I don't want to lose a moment of watching the end of the Galactica. And he's so enraged and inflamed. He says, no, I think you really need to see this other star. What do you mean? What other Battlestar? And did you guys notice that when they went to cut the episode and it was to be continued, it was the look of horror on Baltar's face, not the look of, Galactica's burning and it's going to go, It didn't end on that. It ended on the horror of him.
Yeah, the cliffhanger is the bad guy in trouble.
Yes! That was good. I did appreciate that. And I forget what I named it, how Baltar was in costume or whatever.
Oh, that great helmet of his.
Yeah, that was funny. That was really cool.
I've heard that the little electric light in his helmet actually burned his forehead. He
Really?
actually got a burn from that.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I didn't even know that. Wow. Hey, take one for the team, dude. Some people are stunt people, and some people just do that. Well, when the battle continued, the Pegasus showed up. All brand new Vipers came in. Like, we got to break off. We got to go. And it turns out to be a victory for them. Now, the plan to take Gamora is put in play. And I did like it a little bit later when Starbuck and Shiva are talking about going to take out the farm. And Shiva says, well, hey, we're going on a one-way mission. And Starbuck's like, hey, this kid doesn't go on one-way missions. Are you willing to wager something on a personal level? Again, that's why my mama didn't want me watching that program as an 8-year-old or 9-year-old. And I love
even went over my head 10, 12 years ago when I rewatched these.
Dude, I didn't even know. And he was flat out saying, hey, you want to make it worth our while? You want to bet on it? Do you guys remember? I wrote it down. Do you guys remember her line? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Trey?
Bad idea, Lieutenant. You wouldn't want me throwing the mission just to avoid the bet.
That was funny. That is Starbuck being, right back at you, pal. That was funny. I did like it.
But did you notice she gave him a little backwards glance as she walked out the door?
Yes. Once again, I now know why Mama said it's for adults. Oh my goodness. The whole Mission Impossible aspect of the episode and them going down to the planet and getting it done. It was really exciting seeing these guys parachute in. I did love the lines like, well, you guys have to go because you're the only ones that have seen it and we're going to be following you in. Mm-hmm. I thought that was great. There is so much happening in these episodes. Did you pull back for a moment? Think about the episode. How much time do they spend talking? This is not a talky episode, is it?
No, and but the dialogue was, what dialogue was there was smart.
Mm-hmm.
It was smart. It was efficient, which I think I just said the same thing as you did, Greg. And it moved. In
Yep.
some ways, when I was thinking about it, watching part 2 or taking it in, I'm like, it's like, this is moving very fast. I think by the episode count of 18 minutes, they were already on the planet, if not already having taken it, and we already had engagement with the Cylons. I mean, that was moving fast.
Two of the comments I had made about the script. One was that when Cassiopeia was administering first aid to Boje, she explained she wasn't giving him painkillers because he needed to be able to move.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the other one that I thought was really good, and it was almost like a throwaway line, was that when Kane wanted to take the Pegasus after the base stars, Apollo mentioned, well, all our Vipers are here. Because as it's like ordinarily it's like if a line like that could get cut, and you're like, wait a minute, the Galactica's landing bays are out of commission.
Okay, good point. Did you guys notice the plot error? A significant plot error? After the Pegasus saves the Galactica, and they say the landing bays are damaged, please land over on your ship, but they're under control. We'll get them under control. And we'll meet in 18 or 20 centons in my quarters. Like, well, wait a minute. Landing bays, they can't accommodate, right?
Well, they have transporters. Didn't you know that, Roger?
Or a docking hatch.
Baltar.
Yep, Apollo.
Maybe they got, half of a landing bay that's not bombed out, just wide enough for a shuttle to land.
And that's fair. So based on what all of you are saying, you guys acknowledge it. Yeah. But you know what? It still didn't bug me. It's just I didn't notice that the first time around.
He spacewalked and came in through an airlock.
Okay. Yeah.
Ah,
Didn't they do that in an episode?
They
The
did that
very
in
next
Tar.
one, yeah.
That was kind of cool.
yeah.
That's right. So I did notice that the imagery of the Galactica burning in this episode, it does come into play a little bit later in Fire in Space.
Mm-hmm.
And I had forgotten the order. I was like, was that one first or was that one? But yeah, it was actually a good effect. Guys, again, and I'm sorry for being repetitive on this, but some of the imagery in this series still looks good to this day. But then others, like Michael mentioned earlier, some of the compositing, yeah. Because Trey, they had, how many planets did they have? I think they used Carolon like every time. But when they used Gamorre, I think they tried giving it a different planet this time. And I think that's why the compositing looked bad. Or was it Carolon again?
It may have been Carolyn again, for all I know.
I'm starting to hate that wench. Hey, the human race almost lost it there. Or would you expect me to like it?
The other thing that was new in this one to me, or not new, but rediscovered in this one, was that there was another appearance of the Imperious leader, and that his weird head thing was a hood, not his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you notice that it was moving quite a bit when he was talking to the populace?
Yes, and I didn't remember the civilian Cylons. I thought that was bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't remember that.
Oh, yeah, I did remember that. I mean, I just remembered that in this episode, they looked so funny the way they were walking. That's what I remembered.
Yeah.
I think the aid... Oh, go ahead, Trey.
The fact that this is the second and last time we see the Imperious leader in the series, which makes me wonder, did he even survive? Did he get blown up with some of those other Cylons on Gamorre and get replaced by a third Imperious leader? We really don't know.
I thought the Imperious leader on Gamorre bought it. That they did get him. Because this was the main guy. that we see in the end of the premiere episodes. He says, "I am a more and the light and the model, yeah, whatever."
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was the same one, and then he's blown away. That's why there was meaning. Because I think I told you guys, I know we're looking ahead a little bit, but when that guy showed up in the voice, I did recognize it. I was like, "Oh my god, what is this?" I mean, I know that voice, I know it, and I thought that was the evil guy. And then when he mixes, when Baltar, doesn't he say that?
Yeah.
I know your
Yeah.
voice, or I know
Mhm.
you. And I was like, "Yay, so do I!" Just like in Star Trek 6, I knew he was Savitt. No, Valeris. Valeris. Why? Because they called her. They didn't call her Mister in the episode. There was a little difference, but traders. Anyway, it was the only second time ever in my life that I actually guessed what it was. But we're moving on ahead. Greg, please continue in the episode. I need to take a quick minute, and I got to get my meds ready for 7:00. I'll be right back.
Well, here's one of the other things I thought was interesting is that Kane wore a warrior's uniform rather than like a bridge officer's uniform, and actually was out flying a Viper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
he
thought that
has
was
to
weird
get rid
too.
of to get rid of the tankers. So
Yeah, well, but I mean he was roll up the sleeves, getting go down in the trenches with the men leader,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which probably contributed to his popularity and reputation.
Yes.
Be damned whether he's wearing velveteen or not.
They did love their velveteen.
Didn't they?
The Baltars was green, and the officers was like the really nice navy blue, almost a little darker than this.
Yeah.
What else did we have that was? Trey, were there any deleted scenes that expanded this story at all?
There were, I think it played, I'm editing is my hobby, so I've edited all the deleted scenes back in. I think it plays much better with them. But there's a very good scene with Apollo and Sheba that I think links a couple of other scenes, because when they first meet, Apollo says something about when you're protecting 220 civilian ships, you have to learn to keep a low profile. So then Apollo has this conversation in the deleted scene with Sheba in the launch bay, and they're talking about Cassiopeia, and this is really the only scene where we really get sort of the implication, because Sheba knew her before when she was a socialator. Apollo's trying to convince Sheba that Cassiopeia has changed, and so Sheba has this line. Kind of a weird line. She says, like, human weakness is a given. It may lower its profile, as you put it, but it's still there. So she's harking back to that other scene. And then Apollo says to her, what about you? Any weaknesses? And she says, none that'll ever come between us, Captain. And so later on down the road, we get the scene that calls back to this, where he says, oh, I guess we have found a weakness or two, haven't we, Lieutenant? But without that scene in there, those don't link up at all. So it's a shame
Yeah, it wouldn't
that
make sense.
that scene had to be cut out.
But here's the thing. Even though Cassie was a socialator, I have a feeling that the relationship that she had with Kane may have started out as her being a socialator with him, but it developed into something more.
Yes.
And she wasn't working, shall we say, with him.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what they said in the novelization. I think it was after his wife had died. I think he just met her in a pub or something, and it was really just companionship. They just sort of talked to each other, and how intimate they were, I'm not sure. I don't think it really spells it out in the book, but it started on more of a friendship level.
Back then I thought it was companionship. I didn't think she was ever, because Sheba is there and very clearly doesn't like. I appreciate this conversation you guys just had. I never thought about that. I knew she was a social later because of the joke in the premiere. But I think, is that why Sheba resents her, because she was a former socialator, or just because, again, because remember there was a conversation where Cassiopeia says, "Well, are you sure that Sheba didn't want that role?" Now, I think back then, like today, I'm like, "Whoa, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
What are we? That's your daughter. What are we? What is it meant companion then, or what? Because that threw me."
I think it's taking the place of the hostess of the family, the who meets and greets people, who goes to different events. Sheba would have liked that role as the daughter, but instead Cassiopeia went as the girlfriend, and they're too close to age.
Okay,
Or even just someone to commiserate over the loss of the mother.
Okay.
Yeah, emotional support.
That too.
Okay, but the conversation continued where he says, "But she's my daughter." And then she says, "And I could be as well." And then, of course, again, we get the mom over my shoulder saying, "You got to go." Because of what he says. He says, "Oh, but you are not." Or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, she's talking about the difference
Mom,
in their ages.
I get it now.
But would have just gone over your head, Roger, or
it did.
Yeah.
It was veiled. It was veiled enough that the 10-year-old wouldn't have picked up on that.
Well, 9-year-old Roger said, "Look at it, Mom." Yeah, I didn't get a lot of it. There's no doubt about that. So knowing that, what is implied? Is it companion? Is it the one that greets the guests? I mean, what is it really?
I think it's all of the above.
What? There's a French courtesan. There's a French word, I think.
Courtesan.
Oh, I heard
cortisol's medicine.
But I've heard courtesan as in being in like a court, right, Michael? The courtesan?
I don't know.
Well,
like a royal court.
Royal
Something
court,
like that, right?
I'm trying to Google it.
The French courtesan, yes, it's those that live in the royal court, and they service the king or the earl that comes to town. It's kind of their mistress per se.
It is, huh? I guess. Okay. All right. Well,
I kind of thought of it like, especially lately watching these, more like on how they styled the character in Firefly.
Yes, the companion.
Yeah,
I think that was probably partially based on the socialator concept.
there was a portion of that society where that was acceptable. That was something that was a registered profession.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, iBeamer. Appreciate that comment. So I know you're, but also but also a prostitute. There it is. Yes. I was gonna follow up and ask iBeamer to answer, and he beat me to it. Very good. He knew I was gonna demand an answer from him. Appreciate the like, Gridiron Girl, Sonia. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna take a quick moment. We're actually well into this episode. We are reviewing the Living Legend parts 1 and 2 from the Battlestar Galactica series. Depending on how you go by, but this is episodes 12 and 13. Depends how you want to do the count. Doesn't matter. We're just doing it because that's what it says on Vudu and maybe on Amazon and IMDb as well. So there was another phrase or two that I want to get to, but I do appreciate that. I like the comments in the chat room. I may, you know what? Oh, by the way, I did appreciate Boltar and Lucifer trying to outthink everyone, and they were outthunked the entire episode, right, Trey? What do you think?
Yes. Yeah.
They were not
Cool.
very sharp in this episode because I think that when they sent the Raiders, they're like, oh, yes. Oh, the Pegasus is coming out. All right, no problem. We're going to take it out. And they're like, oh, it's going to make the run to deep space. A decoy. It wasn't a decoy, you dumbass. It was a flaming arrow coming right at you, baby.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, right, Trey? Oh my goodness. I did like that, how these idiots kept thinking it was something else. And nope. Kane knew what had happened. See, I didn't understand that. Kane was going for Baltar, but when did Kane get filled in? I think that might have been a tiny plot hole, unless somehow they were informed. Because Kane doesn't know the destruction of the colonies.
Well, I'm sure Adamo filled him in.
Well, sometimes if I remember some of the conversation, it sounds like he knew. He might have heard chatter, because I'm sure he was monitoring the Cylons.
Oh, son of a... Okay, Michael. He did say that. He did say that they were getting some... But he couldn't decipher that it was you, another Battlestar.
Yeah.
Ooh, so they had their own color purple machine? Sorry, folks. That's a World War II reference. That's because I'm on the stuck up side when it comes to World War II references. Sorry. But I admit it. I admit it. What was that?
So why do you think I laughed when you said that?
I appreciate that. There were some... I did love that line between Lucifer, but it was funny, Greg, how... And I just said it, that they thought that they were outthinking this guy. They knew it was Kane, but they still thought it was... That they still thought they were smarter. But when they realized that they were the target, they were scared. I did catch that, and that was cool. In some ways, folks, it's absolutely awesome when the writing is even, it's kind of even-handed, where even the enemy's like, oh crap, we're the ones in trouble.
As soon as Baltar realizes it's Kane, because Kane's the only one crazy enough to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Also, then, there's somebody more important on Gamorre to go after, to protect.
Yeah.
So they have to go turn around again.
I thought that was so well done. The whole idea of having the Raiders, like, wait, and then running out of fuel. And I remember watching it the first time around when, and I forget the language right now because I was actually caught up in it again. It looked great. I guess they say point blank range fire, and we're seeing laser bolts, but we're seeing, what are they, Titan missiles being launched?
Mm-hmm.
I was all right with that. I had no problem with that. It actually did.
The same one over and over.
It's stock footage.
It was a television budget, man.
Huh? What? I'm not allowed to nitpick?
Oh, no. I was talking to Greg right now. Sorry, Baltar.
They didn't even use a different angle.
I think it's same stock footage of missiles they use later on in Experiment in Terra.
Yes.
When the Eastern Alliance fires its missiles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was a funny line when the Imperious leader is addressing the throng, or is it throngs? I don't know, because they're digital. Did you notice the Emperor got mad?
Mm-hmm.
And he threatened them? He says, you better find out what that is, or I'm going to turn you into something. And he used, I guess I didn't do a very good job of writing my notes down, but they used the Krillian star system.
Mm-hmm.
A phrase about that was the Krillian star system, right?
Yes.
Where they
That's
were
where Gamorre was.
Yes. But I know he did get mad at his Centurions and stuff, saying, you better find out what's going to happen, or what I'm going to take you apart or something.
Have you scavenged for spare parts?
There it is. Scavenge for spare parts. Michael, good job. I see that your background imagery is doing very, very well.
I'm trying to compete with Greg, so
I gave up. All I have is a garage and my beautiful assistant back there. That's about it. I have nothing else. So, and she's got her earphones on, so she doesn't hear. So I got away with that one.
Oop,
Yeah,
here comes the book.
That'll hurt, dude. Don't do that. No, actually, she's got her earphones in, so that's all right. Son of a bitch.
See?
She can still hear you.
Oh my god, that was funny. All right, so she's part of the episode, so she has to. Oh my god, I'll have to watch what they say. Sorry, because I told her earlier when I had to take a quick break. I said, "I'm sorry for my emotion in the episode." And I had my earphones in. I was like, "Oh, okay."
But she can still
You
hear.
liar!
I thought I have a mother.
You're a liar!
She just concealed some of the truth from you.
Yeah.
Studio drama here.
I apologize. Yes, let's go on. Let's continue. Oh man.
Well, it's fun talking about that drama. I mean, you know.
No, it's over. Thank you. In many more ways than one. So let's go. So what are some of your other comments, guys? What else do we have? I remember watching the episode, and the one thing that I remembered is I knew Kane was going to take out the tankers. So even on the rewatch, I was just like, oh, okay, yeah. It seemed a bit weird that the commander of the Battlestar was on a Viper, but his pilots didn't see too much of it. So he had flown missions, which I thought that was kind of cool. I think the only one that maybe reacted was Sheba, right? She was, oh, why are you going?
Yeah.
Not like, oh my God, what's going on? I mean, you're like, why are you
Well,
going?
if he's there, she's not in charge anymore.
Actually, she also had an idea. Oh, and then when they went back aboard the Galactica, when, Kane's like, hey, I know Blue Squadron tried their best. He's, hey, man, we weren't even close when those tankers blew up. Don't try to blame us. It was kind of interesting.
Deflection.
It was.
And you can
was
tell
pretty-
that Sheba. You can
Yes.
tell that Sheba knew what he did.
Yeah, she was a bit confused. It looked like as she was working it through, but then she realized what had happened.
Yeah, it's funny that there's a completely different edit of a largely different edit of the tanker sequence in the movie version, Mission Galactica: The Cylon Attack. They re-edited that and they put in a different shot of Sheba reacting when Kane blows up the tankers, and you can really see she is seeing that happen. She is shocked. So it's in the edit they did for the series. It's not as clear what she saw or how much she saw. So that's just different editorial choices.
Well,
Kind of
and it was
interesting
fun,
there.
and we were talking about time because they had to cut the thing down to a certain amount so they can fit in the commercials that they had to show. So
Yeah.
that makes a difference on a lot of the edits back then.
Well, folks, again, check this out, man. It's almost 49-minute runtime. And if you think about how things were done back then, they had 12 minutes of commercials. Solid. We shouldn't have more than 48 minutes. And both episodes still ran over 48 minutes. A lot of stuff happens in this episode. Two-parter, right?
Yeah, both parts. This is the first two-parter that I thought had good pacing in part one as well as part two. And I think that's because of the fact that it was the first one written after they knew they were going to series. So I think they purposely paced part one to make it interesting.
Yeah. I love the fact that Glenn A. Larson has a story credit and teleplay. It was story by Ken Pettis and Glenn A. Larson, but the teleplay was Glenn A. Larson. And folks, for those of you that know and don't know, what that means is the one that wrote the teleplay is what was actually prepared for shooting based on the story, because it wasn't written by, which is normally it was a story by. So both, that's what it means. Both of them combined, but Mr. Larson actually got it in a teleplay format. I don't even think they use that anymore, do they, huh, guys? It's been a long time since I've ever seen someone get a teleplay credit. I don't know.
they still do.
They still do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen story and written by separately.
Right.
Mhm.
Which that kind of throws me, but then again, okay, well, if you know how they're doing, like, okay, yes. Now, Battlestar Galactica has had different wording like that as well, and that's why I try to, make note of it. On this one, on my notes, I always have written by, but I crossed it out because it said story by. Those two, and then the teleplay. So hopefully we didn't confuse anyone in the audience, because I confused myself. But I'm sorry, I'm hungry. I have to keep. I'm gonna keep eating. Sorry.
Oh,
No,
costume.
he's
Liz.
trying to hide the food
Sorry,
from us.
Liz.
Got your mush
I
eater.
don't like you.
Aw, yeah.
Well, that's why I had to go get the snack bowl here, because you're chowing
Sorry,
down
bud.
on that sandwich. I'm like, oh, he's making me hungry.
I know. Sorry, boys.
Yeah.
Oh, and girls. Sorry about that. Actually, my assistant suggested that we go here. We hadn't been here in a long time, so I was like, oh yeah, great idea. So I said, awesome. I have to go live in 30 minutes. Sorry, Liz.
Of course, no,
You couldn't have wolfed it down beforehand.
I was trying to have a conversation with the young lady right here, but the time just ran out. What am I going to do? It's a lot of food. Are you mad that I'm eating right now?
No, I'm giving
I'm
you a
just
hard
curious.
time.
Anyone watching? You guys mad that I'm actually having a meal? I mean, I think one of my co-hosts is
No.
Trey. Do you care? I'm just curious.
no, I don't care.
Okay, Greg, do you care?
It's not like you're talking with your mouth full.
Aw, thank you. Oh my. Anyway, the living legend. For the love of God. Oh my God. So come on, Michael, jump in. Greg, jump in.
Jump in about what? Talking about you eating or something else?
I didn't see Beamer. I'm so offended. I can't believe you would do such a thing.
Did you bring enough for
He's
everyone?
lucky we know we've been with him before.
No, I'm sorry. I'm a rude Borrelian.
You gallmonging chowmonger.
Yeah, sorry, folks.
So anyway,
Yeah.
Hades,
costume-wise, I got a kick out of Baltar's
Thank you, Chris.
flight helmet that looked like the Cylon head, but instead of having the eye going back and forth, there was like a red light in the middle
The
of
red
his
dot.
forehead.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was funny.
Oh.
And did you also notice it seemed like his nose? You noticed that beyond where the nose bridge should have been, onto his nose itself,
Yeah.
almost looked like it was painted funky color, like a gold or a white. That shouldn't have been there because you can see the separation.
Well, that's interesting because I really didn't notice that. But
I don't know if he was sweating or what, but you could definitely tell he needed some powder.
Well, maybe they had to do something because he's always like underlit. So
yeah,
maybe they had to do something to keep that look.
yeah.
You know, they always did that dramatic underlighting where he has like the light shining up on his face. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
he had the deep shadow eyes.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't realize
Classic evil lighting.
that. Yeah.
And actually, when they pulled back away from that raised platform where he sits, you can see a spot embedded in the floor that shines up.
His little footlight.
So he must sit there over his light when he's talking. It's shining up.
You know what was funny though? If I know we haven't finished the season, we're not even close. Actually, we might be in the halfway mark. John Colicos as Baltar was very believable.
Oh yeah,
He played it well from the very beginning. That sniveling little coward that he was, he had made a deal, which I don't know why. I don't think they had a brand new Death Star that was going to take out the human race, so he sold out everyone but his colony. But if there's one that lives, there's always a threat. Um, I really thought he was really cool. He was a good bad guy, but I don't understand where it was lost. Because remember, the new Imperious leader gave him the edict: we want to have peace. We would like you to be that peaceful connection.
That conduit to peace, yeah.
Yeah, what happened? Is he against the Imperious leader on this? I mean, what do you guys think? It was just lost in the storyline, or I just didn't get it? The Imperious leader was like, "Go and act like you're a conduit of peace." But go.
Well, it would be very peaceful if all your enemies are wiped out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my impression is that as soon as they got into Last Planet of the Gods, they sort of retconned that as him telling Baltar to pretend they want peace.
Okay.
Like, we want peace. Wink, wink.
Okay. I guess I could see that. Okay.
And since you can't see his face, you can't really tell whether he's winking.
That's right. 2 Cylons wink. Oh. Did you guys see when part 2 started and they reenacted the scene of the Pegasus coming in? And I don't know if it was in the first part because I didn't realize it. But did you notice how they close in on the Cylon? He looks left, and you can see the red eye go, and then it stops.
Yeah,
right
they
in the
speed
middle.
it up.
Did you see that?
Yeah, that's a great little insert.
Was that in the first part? No, huh?
No, only in the recap.
They did that in the second part. There's humor in that when the Cylon's like looking and like it focuses. That was subtle, Trey. I thought that was great. Did you guys catch it?
I did. I fast forwarded that for recap.
Oh no, I always watch it, but then that might have been a little Easter egg, huh, Trey?
Yeah.
It's funny because the Cylon's looking over and then it just stops because I guess it homed in on the Pegasus and said, "Oh crap, there's another one." And the whole thing about, sir, you need to see that. I know we already talked about it. That was funny. I know my parents, when we were all watching that episode, they laughed and laughed over the Cylon. It was great.
Yeah, it was a little predictable, but it was a good moment for.
Go watch the recap, dude. You missed it.
Yeah, Cylon Centurions, when you least expect it, have a little sense of humor. Like, if you think back to the first Imperious leader where he says, "We took them by surprise," and the Centurion says, "Apparently it was not as big a surprise as we had hoped for."
Well, also, I mean, the Lucifers are definitely sarcastic and conniving, and the L1 models, or whatever.
Did you guys notice that in this one, though, the Lucifers referred to it as, it wasn't Gamorre per se. They pronounced it differently. And then I think Baltar or someone, no, it's Gamorre. But I think
right. Yeah, the first time he says Gamorre.
Yeah.
Gamorre.
Yeah. I caught like 3 different pronunciations of it.
Well, I just want to know how you pronounce Galmonging in French.
Does anybody have a version that's got
Mong de
French
Gaulle?
dub?
That's good, Trey. I like it. Oh, my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, trekking across the universe, back to Galactica here on the NDB Media Network. Today is the day after Lonely Hearts Day. It is February 15th. Liz, I think I got it right this time, 2024. And we're having a wonderful time. Thank you, everyone. If you guys want to let us know who you are and where you hail from. I know we have iBeamer with us. Thanks, buddy. It's always great to see your comments, man. And can't wait to have you join us again when we do some of the other programs. But we have Liz, of course, down there. We have Trey. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I need Baltar and Adama. We have Michael over there, and of course, we have Greg. So this has been a fun, guys. We're having fun with this episode. What else did you guys want to talk about and mention?
Well, I thought it was neat, even though that they did most of their communications on on like television screens. There was a couple of times where they had like what we were probably supposed to think were holographic recordings.
No.
Like there was a holographic recording of Cassiopeia that when Kane first, mentions that he'd like to find her.
Yeah.
And then another one of Sheba, I think.
Shiva, yeah, saying happy birthday to Kane.
Yes.
But did you guys catch the editing on that? That the moment the image went dark, Kane turned to look at them. So wow, that was good timing. It was very well done. I know it was probably stare at it for 5 seconds. It's probably something like that. But it just looked good. At the minute it blinked off, or the moment it blinked off, Kane looked back to look at them. And I loved how Starbuck was like, oh man, the living legends getting hot and heavy with my woman. Oh, come on. The look on Starbuck's face was really funny.
And they're just kind of staring with open mouth, and they don't say anything. So Kane says, "Well, apparently you've never seen her before."
That was funny. Yes, it was still a live omission, folks. It was really good. When Pegasus goes after Baltar, Kane uses a line, "I do know how to win a battle." That was really good. Again, he has a lot of lines in this episode. I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you guys, but I did read some of the background stuff. And Trey, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but Lloyd Bridges' wife, she told June Lockhart, she said, or actually no, I think she was talking about Lorette Spang, right? Is it?
Mm.
Yeah.
She said the only thing I could see was you're just a bit too young for him. That was it. Otherwise, she said you did everything. It's just I didn't see you were way too young for him. That's all the wife said. Otherwise, she said you did great. It's just I couldn't see it, which was kind of something. iBeamer says, thank you for sharing. If I'm able to watch the series on one of the services I'm subscribed to, I'll certainly try to chime in occasionally. I don't know if any one of the streaming services have it, folks.
I don't think
I haven't found it.
I don't either. You would think it would be on NBC Universal, the Peacock.
Yeah, I think it was on there for a while, and they took it off. Then it was on.
Yeah.
Then it was on Tubi for a while, and they took it off. Or maybe it's still there. I don't know.
Okay, we'll have to take a look at that. But I'm not sure if I told everyone I had to go to Vudu to get the Series 1. And it was on sale. I think I shared with my co-host that it was, so it wasn't too bad. And I do not, and I say this proudly, I do not own a second of Galactica 1980. I'm going to have to get the season. I don't know how much it's going to cost. That one's going to hurt. What was that, Greg?
The set I got on Blu-ray has widescreen and full screen. So I actually have 2 copies. I can loan you one.
Well, you have Galactica 1980.
Yeah, I got out of this box set on Blu-ray because I didn't have 1980.
You said that, didn't you?
So
hey, Raj. By the way, I got this box set.
Did you hear that I got a box set that came with widescreen and full screen?
I mean, one doesn't just admit to owning Galactica 1980, right? I mean, not without a little bit of encouragement.
Why do you own it? What happened? Was it
because he had to do.
Whoa! Watch that imagery. We're rated adult here. Okay, you can do whatever you want with that DVD. Michael, what? Sorry.
Well, I've probably lined up guests for 1980, and then you're trashing it. That's kind of rude.
Hey, okay, I own Galactica 1982.
Anybody
not,
that was
not
in it
1982, 1980 also.
Anybody that was in it would probably trash it also.
No, maybe not.
Michael, all I said was I don't have a copy of it.
Oh, I know, but it was your facial reaction at the time.
Aw,
Yeah.
I didn't give him any facial love. I'm sorry.
Not
I
at
would
all.
rather watch Galactica 1980 than Star Trek 5. I can say that much.
Ooh.
I find Star Trek 5 unwatchable in the extreme.
Even after a drink or two,
After the heart.
Claudia, you my first aid kit, please.
it had a lot of. I mean, the
I
story was
just got
horrible, but
stabbed
it
in
had
the
a
eye.
lot of funny moments.
No, I thought none of the jokes landed. I thought the humor, so-called, was very cringy, forced in with a crowbar, did not belong there at all.
Row, row, row your boat.
Exactly. Exactly. And why did they make Spock's Vulcan harp suddenly sound like an out-of-tune banjo? It never sounded that way before. It was a beautiful instrument.
You destroyed my childhood.
Yeah, they did that weird, like synth thing with it.
Mhm.
Even she cried BS on that one. She can't even hear right now. That was perfect timing, though. That was funny.
Was it Spice Williams played the bodybuilder lady, played the Klingon girl?
You know that we've interviewed her twice on the network, Spice Williams. Oh my God, she was a blast, man. If we did anything, she would probably return. Did you guys know that her body is it Colorado at the U.S. Olympic Training Center? She's the statue outside of the training center.
Cool.
Yeah, kind of neat.
Where is this?
At the U.S. Training center in I think it could be in Aspen, Colorado. I don't know.
Okay, I'll have to find that.
I thought that was cool.
She has wonderful muscles.
Very good, Chekhov. Okay, guys, I'm shocked that we're off. We really went off, especially on this episode. I swear, I thought we were going to do two solid hours on this one, but we actually did cover quite a bit. So we didn't really talk about the ending. We did talk about the battle. I thought it was cool that Starbuck and Apollo realized what was going on. They're like, all right, screw it, let's do it. And they went in and they flew in cover. Well, they didn't exactly fly in cover, but they went in there, took out the missile launchers, yes, which was cool. And they say, hey, they're not going to shoot at us while we're in here. So that did help. It was really cool. And then they got away. I remember watching it again as a 9-year-old, and I'm looking at it, and I try to see it again on the replay because we didn't have a VCR back then. They did exist, but we didn't have one. But when the ship blew up, I was shocked. I was shattered, and I couldn't believe that it was denied. Hey, Beamer, thanks, buddy. Appreciate that you spent some time with us, and I hope you have a safe ride home. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do remember, Beamer was on several of the programs on with us as a commentator. And peace, love, and smoothies all. Thank you. I was having my mushies here a moment ago. Mushies, right? Whatever they are, yeah. But when the explosion that we see, what were you guys thinking? I was like, oh, come on, man.
I figured it blew up.
You did, so you were fairly certain that it blew up. I didn't.
It wasn't until like the internet, like decades later, that they're like, oh, Kane survived.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, I'm not going to even answer that right now because of another response. No, not going to. What? Michael? Why?
Oh, just because.
Surprisingly, you're not Latin, but you realize you just tagged your wall.
Oh, I know. I did that.
With graffiti. Okay, obviously, I thought that was a lot more funny than it was.
You know.
I heard a sticker back there. All right.
The Italians were the original graffiti folk, You got it from us. And the Italians got it from the Egyptians who did graffiti.
The Romans were pretty good at graffiti, by the way.
Yeah.
That's funny.
A lot of what we know about Roman politics has to do with their graffiti.
Yeah, no kidding. Michael, what did you think watching it back then when they're looking back and they were blinded by the light? Sorry, Liz, that was for you.
I did. I thought that he probably did survive because I mean he went away. Everybody thought he was dead the first time, and in that other battle. But you know, I mean, that's what I assumed.
Battle of Molokai.
Yeah, but I actually think if they had had a season 2, I think he would have been back.
Trey, are they missing something? Please don't. I mean, they are, aren't they?
I think
Yeah.
there's a memo of questionable provenance that has circulated that was supposedly an outline of stories that were going to be for season 2 if they had made one, and one of them was the Return of the Pegasus.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Did not know that. But folks, keep thinking that. Liz, what did you think when you saw that?
I was pretty sure it had gotten blown up.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm one of these people who I don't expect a happy ending in any way. I'm looking at something, even like when I'm watching a cop show or something, and everything's all hunky dory, and the families are perfectly fine and safe. The next minute they get blown away. I'm expecting that. When it doesn't happen, I'm actually a little disappointed.
Fair enough. Trey, when you were watching the first time.
I didn't really have an opinion as to whether he was alive or not.
Okay.
Because we were supposed to not know.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm a little kid in the candy store right now. So we're going to be discussing something in the future. But all right, I kind of like it. This is good. All right. I was angry because I think it was the next episode. Baltar's back. I'm like, oh, come on. So I was kind of agitated by that. So,
well, he did kind of turn tail and run.
Yep. When you have 2 base commanders block out a battle star for you, I guess you better run, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The one good thing about this is the Cylons weren't completely all that powerful, if you think about it. Like the Cylons of the reimagining. It's just that they outnumbered everyone on everything. They just had way too much of everything. But in this one, it didn't seem like they did, which was all right by me. But all right, what else?
I did have a note I just skipped over.
Go ahead, please.
When they were blowing up supposedly the munition stores,
Yeah,
they looked an awful lot like fuel tanks to me.
And there was a reused scene. And I'm not talking about the shuttlecrafts or anything. Did you guys catch it? There was a reused scene. And it was from, I think, the Young Lords.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Alongside of the castle. Right?
Stuff.
Yeah, when they started blowing up some of that stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
One thing I liked is when they're in the shuttlecraft and they get told to go back to the Galactica, and all of a sudden they realize that they're heading toward the Pegasus. I'm like, who gave that order? And Cassie says, it was me. I gave that order because he's a priority as far as his injuries, and we need to get him to the quickest ship that can take care of it. And Galactica was too far away.
Did you notice how everyone responded? They was just like, because she responded with authority. She goes, I did. It's the nearest ship. He needs medical attention. Shut up. And everyone did.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That was well done. There was another thing in there, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to go over my notes.
I could throw in a. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Trey, because I did find it. There were 2 other things, and it had to do with Ty, which was really cool.
I just had a little behind the scenes note about Anne Lockhart. She was, from what I've heard, Glenn Larson's first choice to play Athena, but she turned
Really?
down the role because she thought there just wasn't enough for that character to do. So he turned around and created a better character for her.
That's
Well,
interesting because if you think about it, over time, Athena really didn't have that much to do.
Right?
No, she didn't.
No, she was a prominent story. Oh, I don't want to say that. She's a prominent character, but yeah, didn't have much to do. I was shocked when when she died. That was a bummer. I mean, poor Boxy. She lost them both in days. If you think about it.
Well, you're talking about
Wait a minute.
Serena.
You're talking about
Serena.
Serena. We're talking about Athena.
You're right.
Apollo's sister.
Sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. You're right. Really? She didn't want the Athena role?
Yeah, that's what I've heard. She just didn't think it was a juicy enough role.
You know what? I apologize, folks. Yeah, like Athena, beautiful eye candy. I may have stuttered when I said that, but it means the same thing. Yeah, she doesn't have very much to do, does she? I think the young lady that launches a core control, I think has a lot more to do than Athena.
I think she had more lines.
Which one, Athena or core control?
Core control.
Yeah.
Even if it's just launch when ready.
Yeah.
She actually had a few scenes. I didn't realize that she went down to the planet for the wedding. I didn't realize she was one of the mains, I guess. One of the flower girls. Sorry, I know that's old and sexist. I know she was there. And someone did a montage for her on YouTube. It's kind of cool. She did not repeat every line. It's like they filmed it for each episode. There are a few that are repeated, but they put the montage and they listed every episode she was in. So she had filmed, or at least there was enough footage that she had like unique footage in every episode. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think it's worked out that way. But there was a nice montage of her. I don't know if I saved it in my Galactica folder on YouTube. I probably did. So if I have it, I'll send it to you guys.
You have to put it in the episode note for this one.
Fine. I'm looking for it right now. Oh, and just before I do that, I did like the line how Ty took command, and I think it was Tolan. I'm not sure if that's the correct pronunciation. The Omega character, but over on the Pegasus, who was much, much younger. He was the first. Was he a colonel?
Yeah, he was.
He was young. So
And tall.
Yeah, he is a big kid, isn't he? So Tolan, when he's in the Omega slot, sitting right in there, and then Kane says, "I'm on my way, and be prepared to do this," and everyone just roared in delight.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, "Sir, it's nothing personal, sir." And then I loved what he said about who can fight a living legend, and even Ty. That was cool. I love that line. Who can fight? Because he said nothing personal. Who can fight a living legend? I liked Ty's role in that.
Mm-hmm.
I know that earlier when Ty says, "Nope, let's get to work," and Tolan says, "Sir, there are a lot of bad feelings right now. Can we just let it simmer for a little bit?" Like, no, we got to move. Let's get to it. I did appreciate that Tolan said what he felt and then said, "Yes, sir, I'm going to do it." He gave him the advice in private, which is what you should always do in a command structure. And once Ty says, "No, this is what we're going to do," he went to it. You know, there was no dirty look. There was no nothing. See, those are the subtleties of good storytelling that he's sharing with them. Hey, something big is, you might want to slow down just a tad. Because I think we see in the very next scene, right? The shuttle comes in for landing, and they're going to disperse the fuel and all that. And then we have what some people would call a Mexican standoff. No, it's not. But we had almost a fight from the OK Corral, right?
Yeah.
Warriors were there. And I was surprised that Boomer and Apollo just pulled their weapons up first, and the others didn't flinch. That was interesting.
Hmm.
I wonder what would have happened. Do you think they would have fired? Or would have
You
fired?
never
No,
know
I think
because
they're
they
more
called the
disciplined
alert.
than that.
Right, the alert. I'm sorry, Liz. What was that?
I don't think they would have. They're more disciplined than that.
You know, if
So,
you
go ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
No, Trey, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say if you watch the edit of the scene in Mission Galactica, the movie version, you don't see Apollo and Boomer draw their weapons. That was just filmed as an insert. You only see the weapons in extreme close up. They've got a shot of them drawing their weapons, and then another insert shot of them holstering their weapons. But that doesn't even appear in Mission Galactica. They just stand there. Nobody draws weapons. I just thought that was
So it
interesting.
was just filler. So it was just filler for the TV, not
Or
the
an
movie.
afterthought, just to make it a little more dramatic.
Yeah.
Oh, let's do a little pickup shot of weapons being drawn.
Might not even been the actors.
Yeah, it could have been hand models at that close distance. But yeah, that's why it's a little awkward when they show them reholstering their weapons, because why do we have to go back to close up for that? Well, I think because it was filmed much later, and you see Apollo, raise up his gun hand, which is empty, so you've got to have that second insert of them putting their weapons away. But it does seem to be an afterthought.
Because they don't flinch.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they pull the weapons, they're just there. That's a scene before. They just didn't seem to flinch or whatever. If someone pulls a weapon on you, you generally just don't stay there. You might take a step back and say, "Dude, you got to calm down here. We're all on the same side. Be cool." You see, had Roger been there, I'm like, "Whoa, this is getting way out of hand. I didn't sign up for these one-way missions. Yo, homie, don't sign up for one-way missions. You guys want to pass? Go ahead." I would do the Eddie Murphy right then and there. Hey, there's a door. Go ahead, boys. That was the old play on when you're driving with the date and she says, "Oh, let me out of here." In the old days, it's, "Oh, we'll have none of that." But the kids of the 1980s, get the F out, get out, and drive off. That's what I would have done. Sorry. I am looking forward to Axel. Sorry, folks, way off topic. All right, this is cool. What else did you guys want to add to it? I think I've covered almost everything I did. This was a fun episode. It ran fast, and I think that's probably why our review might be even shorter than it normally is, even for a two-parter. This was quick. It was action-based, and we knew what was going to happen. When you guys look at the runtime again, especially in part 2, 18 minutes in on the runtime, and we're already deep in on the action. It's good stuff, and I didn't recall that the first time around, but it was good. There might be some issues with it, but there's so few that I have for this episode. I remember seeing it the first time. It was awesome. I looked at it again today, and forgetting the advancement in technology, video, and everything, there's still a good story here. There's still so many subtle elements, especially the music doing the patent stuff, huh, Trey?
Yeah.
I still loved it. I kid you not. It's after this episode, I hummed that for 40 years.
Well, you look back at what Stu Phillips scored, and it's like almost everything that Larson did, almost all the shows I watched. We had Knight Rider, Buck Rogers, this, Fall Guy.
Do you know, my father was a connoisseur of music. He listened to everything, and unfortunately, he had, I lost out on it. He had photographic memory. He was one of those that you read it once, he had it forever. He knew so much of music, and he had commented. He said that of all classical pieces that he had heard over the years, and even for show tunes, because he would watch quite a bit, he said the uniqueness of the Stu Phillips Battlestar Galactica theme and all of its elements. He said, this one stands out. It's those rare ones that almost are fresh and new. And the other one that he said was the Jerry Goldsmith original motion picture theme. He said, dude, you can't find it anywhere. Nothing sounds like it. And he said the same thing of Battlestar Galactica. Because if you want to listen to the planets and you hear Star Wars, okay? Sorry. That's a personal comment. But the theme from the original series Battlestar Galactica was always one of my favorites. Yeah.
High praise.
Yeah. Stu Phillips was really good, man.
I love that they did it like almost like an official march in the reimagined series.
Yeah.
We will get to it, but at the very end, when what's his face takes the fleet into the sun, remember?
Oh God.
Anders, right?
Yeah.
And we heard that theme. Yeah, I remember that. Oh my God. And it was that music, it was that theme, it was well done. Because I think the only other time we heard it was in the premiere.
Yeah, it was in the premiere.
Yeah, it was a march, which was really good. It was a wonderful homage. All right. Well, I wish that someone would do a prequel series, and we get to see what happens at the Battle of Molokai. That would be awesome.
Oh,
Do you think we'll ever
that
get a
would be
prequel
good.
series?
Well, we were
I mean,
supposed
we
to.
got
They were
Rogue
going
One.
to do Blood and Chrome, right?
Yeah, they were. I don't understand why that one failed. But we are going to review Blood and Chrome as well, folks.
Didn't it go direct to DVD, or was it like just shown once on Sci-Fi Channel after Caprica?
I think it was shown once.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, FYI, everyone, Stu Phillips is still alive.
I know. I said that what I said was. I was like, oh, wait.
No, he's still alive. He is 94.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Yes, definitely. All right. Any other comments? Anything else you guys want to share?
No, that's it for me.
For anyone who's in a charitable mood, I think Jack Stauffer's GoFundMe is still up. He's the actor who played Bo J. He had to have a leg amputated last year, and the GoFundMe has been set up to help with his recovery expenses, and I think it's still only about half funded, but it's been up since last year.
Michael, now you have an answer.
We'll have to get that. We'll have to get that link in the.
I'm looking for it right now. GoFundMe.com, right?
Yeah.
And,
Just look up Jack Stauffer.
This is the first time that I actually do a look, and I have his name right here because I wrote it down.
And I think Lorette Spang set that up for him last year.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I think she and Ann Lockhart and maybe maybe Sarah Rush, maybe the three of them got together and set that up for him.
My co-hosts, my fellow warriors. There it is, my fellow warriors. I just put it in the private chat. Ladies and gentlemen, I am posting it in the chat room. There it is. I'm going to switch to it right now, folks. If I violate the privacy of anyone, I am so sorry. It's not my intent.
That's a public
but here
website.
it is. Jack Stauffer. Lorette McCook is organizing this fundraiser on behalf of Jack Stauffer. In December 2020, Jack was in front of his house walking his dog when he slipped on a patch of wet grass, and that moment changed his life forever. He recently had his right kneecap replaced, but this accident would severely damage the quadriceps tendon of his left knee. After multiple surgeries, they found they could not repair the catastrophic damage to his right knee. Jack has been through many months of rehabilitation, and battles severe infections that recently led to sepsis. Oh, man.
Oh man.
This life-threatening condition is his body's response to the damage inside his leg. Surgeons agreed that his leg must be amputated above the knee. He is currently battling an infection in his bloodstream.
That explains something.
Yes, that explains something, Michael. The amputation was performed on January 14th, which more than likely was in early 2021. I believe. I do not know. We'll have to verify that.
I thought it was last year.
And you know what, Trey? It may very well be, because I'm going by December 2020. So I'm sure I got it wrong.
I'm thinking this was only put up a year ago.
And there are updates in June of 2023. So this GoFundMe page for Jack and his family is so that they will be able to have medical caregivers at home following the surgery. He will need 3 to 6 months to heal before they discuss prosthetics. Insurance, as we all know, cannot possibly cover all the care he will require in the coming months. There's great urgency for this at GoFundMe page, so try not to wait. Please follow your heart and let us come together for Jack. Donate now, give what you can, and maybe a little extra. Folks, we're talking about him right now. We did not speak of him all that much, but he was a significant part of this episode, and series, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He made us smile, and he made us cheer for joy. Because when he took out that Cylon, right? I mean, we were all like, yeah. I'm sad, and I had no idea, Trey. Thank you for sharing this. So, folks, the link is right there, GoFundMe.com. Wow. And there are still folks that are giving as of days ago. Wow. So on June 27th, there was an update, a significant update, which was good. Wow. If you folks have a chance, there it is. I don't see him, though. I know that's him, but I don't see the face, of Boj right there. But it is him. Wow. I hope he's recovering right now.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he's doing better. Thank you for Trey. Thank you for that, Trey. I had no idea, man.
Yeah, sure.
Wow.
On that note.
Yeah.
Sorry to, throw a wet blanket on this.
Not at all. Not at all, young man. This is what life really is.
He's alive, and and they say he's remained in good spirits. So I'm sure he's well into recovery now. It's a year later.
So we can. You heard what Michael and I. You realize how Michael and I reacted when you told us that, Trey. Michael, if you want to share it, go ahead. Otherwise,
no, I'd rather not, just because.
Fair enough. Let's just say, Trey, we had no idea.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, folks. These were our heroes growing up. If you have a chance, doesn't matter what it is. You guys all know. I know. I feel kind of bad because I have been forgetting my pitch, and you all know that I have something that's close to my heart. So if you can remember this one as well. Ladies and gentlemen, every year on the second Saturday in May, you know that paper bag shows up at your home, and it is called Stamp Out Hunger. It's once a year. It's local. It helps to restock the food banks. Ladies and gentlemen, in the same way that you could donate to Jack, $1 is a lot, as is Stamp Out Hunger. One can is a meal. Doesn't matter what it is. But think about that. And it goes to your neighbors. It goes to everyone that lives around because all the donations are local. Stamp Out Hunger is a worthy one. And it's all volunteer by the Postal Service workers.
And the
Think
rest of the
about
year
that
is
one.
also your local food banks.
I'm sorry, Greg?
There's also your local food banks for
Yes.
the rest of the year as well. And
Yes.
they almost always have a list of things that they need because they get a lot of stuff, so the same stuff, because people think, that's everything. But, if you want to donate to the food bank, make sure you check what they're looking for.
I read about that, Greg, that a lot of people give, but it's like a two-parter, meaning they give something like macaroni and cheese, but it like requires milk or butter, something like that. A lot of people give the one, but they don't know about the other part.
Yep.
But
And they
that's
will
very
take
good, Greg.
dehydrated milk.
Yeah. You see, I thank you, Greg, for reminding us of that.
And you
Folks,
can also get, grocery store gift cards
yes.
or even donate cash.
I thank you, Trey. This was important, and I'm glad, and I hope I didn't take away from that, Jack Stauffer. Wow, I'm glad that you shared that with us, and maybe there'll be some donations going his way real quick, so he can recover. I know it's a little bit after, but
Every little bit will help.
Yes, every dollar.
Because I'm sure they still have bills.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go, folks. I'm glad. Thank you, Trey, for reminding us on that. Folks, do we have anything else? Michael, did you have any announcements or anything?
Just got a couple guests coming
Actually,
up.
you do have several confirmations.
Yeah, I finally got some confirmations. Thanks to Liz. Thank you, Liz.
Are they on calendar?
I just put them up on the webpage.
You want to go ahead and announce them?
Yeah. Bill Blair, Monday the 19th. And this one's going to be a little earlier than we normally do it. 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific. On the 22nd of February, which is a Thursday, we have Kristen Brown. She's a singer-songwriter. She was on The Voice season 24 this last season. And that will be on Talented Universe. And on 3rd of March, we're very excited. We're going to have Dominic Chichak, Harris Beckner on the Ark will be joining us again so we can finish the interview that we had to cut short. So we're very excited to have him back. And those are the three that I have confirmed right now. There's a couple more I'm working on. But.
Co-hosts, everyone on the network, if you want in, talk to Michael or myself, and we'd be happy to have you guys on with us. But a lot of great stuff. Michael, again, thank you. The stuff that you're down there now. Sorry,
I moved.
Look to my left. Yes,
I moved. Yeah,
that was my
He's
fault.
sneaky that way.
All right, folks, we're gonna call it. Time is short for me right now. Liz, thank you. Trey, thank you. Michael, Greg, and everyone else that comments in the chat room. It means a great deal to us. We're having a great time doing this. Stay tuned on the announcements of the episodes. I believe we're going to have we're going to have another episode next week. Watch the network, and I know the co-hosts will announce it the minute we program the episodes. So, on behalf of everyone, I'm Adi here, and I believe Trey, if there's nothing else, Trey will end the episode.
Fleeing from the Cylon tyranny, the last battlestar, Galactica, leads a ragtag fugitive fleet on a lonely quest. A shining planet known as Earth.